You want to hear what's going on in the sports world? You want to read the inside slant of what's happening? Get something different? Well, log on to NGSCSports.com and check out the current content on there. I'm not even going to tell you about it right now because I'm going to save that for the next break on the show. But of course, you log on to NGSCSports.com, you'll see our current content, NFL content, NCAA, NFL draft prospects from Draft Central. We've got the shows up there on the Spreaker player. And of course, everybody, if you'll notice, there's the widget that says NCC Basketball. As I-95 Sports and NGSC Sports collaborate and give you Nassau Community College basketball. We give you a couple of games a week. Try to give you a heads up, but of course you'll catch them live on the player. You'll see the tweets go out, of course, from the Twitter handle at NGSC Sports. And this is In the Batter's Box. And I am your host, Ralph Garcia, CEO of NGSC Sports. And you can find me on Twitter at El Rafito, that's ELRAFITO 322, El Rafito 322. And I am joined by my two co-hosts that make the show happen every single week. First of all, you can find him on Twitter at Radio Doucette. My friend and co-host of In the Batter's Box, John Doucette. John, as always, welcome to the show.
Ralph, as always, good to be with you.
And a few weeks ago, or a month ago, or whenever it was, some cat came and wanted to hang out with us. That ain't left. So we said, you know what? Welcome to the family. Not only that, beautiful quick story. I asked the young man if he could write. He said, sure. Yeah, no problem. What do you want? Something every day? Cool. Yeah, whatever. Not only that, been a great addition to the show, knowledge of the game, obviously loves the game. We welcome him again to NGSC Sports. This is the last time that I'll welcome him and show him any kind of open and love, because since he's a part of the family, oh well, he's just a part of the family. But without further ado, excuse me, at AE Canada 12. Did I say that correctly, Chris Lacey?
That is correct.
That is at AE Canada 12. And of course, we're talking to Chris Lacey. Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Ralph, thanks for having me on again.
All right, gentlemen. When we start the show, it is baseball. And I love to talk about my team. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to us on Spreaker, excuse me, I know you're listening to us on Spreaker. What am I talking about? Slap myself in the face. And you also watch me on Periscope, which I know you don't do it for my face. They're having technical difficulties on the scope. So it ain't working right now. So we're going to keep on going here on Spreaker. Now, one of the things that I love to talk about always in baseball is my team, the New York Mets. I like to save them for the juicy parts, but this time it's not so juicy, though it's a happy story. Chris, New York Mets got a signing this week. Nobody's sure exactly of the man's age, but tell us about the signing.
Yeah, the Mets, they re-signed veteran pitcher Bartolo Colon to a one-year deal worth $7.25 million. Colon had a 4.16 ERA and more than 190 innings for the Mets last season, and it's a great thing for the Mets to bring him back for another year.
Hey, John, we know we won't talk about the age thing because who are we to talk? And the guy's pitching still in the majors. But the addition to Bartolo Colon was a good addition for the New York Mets. And we were wondering and talking as the season went along, watching what Colon brought to the game. What this does for the New York Mets, what Colon will bring with another year in his long career.
Well, it adds depth to that rotation, and I think that that's probably a good thing for the Mets based on the young pitchers and based on the injury issues that some of these guys already possess. To have somebody of Colon's stature to be able to spot start for them and maybe work some long relief out of their bullpen, I think is a valuable commodity that the Mets decided to bring back. I thought it was very valuable for that team, especially the first 2 months of last year, April and May, when that starting staff wasn't quite together until really the second half of the year. And I thought Colon did a very good job of keeping things together. And I think that's what the Mets are going to hope he can do again next year.
And I wondered, of course, when I heard of the addition of Colon, although he's shown in several stops that he can bring something. He always brought something. He's always brought fire and a passion and that heavy heavy arm of his. But it was a good addition, John. And I was looking forward to having Colon back if he was going to come back. So, I agree with you guys. It's a good signing. And most importantly, like you said, John, and saying it to you, Chris, you can have all the young stars on a professional sports team. Doesn't matter which sport. The Chicago Cubs, an example of a bunch of youngsters primed and ready. You got a young pitching staff like the New York Mets do. It's great to have a veteran like that in there because he does so much more, John, than just those appearances. Much more in the dugout, much more in the locker room for this team.
Well, I do think the other part of it is look at the innings pitched, the 190. I think for a guy that's supposedly on the back end of his career to still be able to give you that amount of innings per year is, I think, rather impressive, and it does bode well for his future with this team for however long he wants to do it. He takes care of himself. He takes care of his arm, despite the physical appearance that he presents. Nevertheless, Bartolo Colon knows how to get it done still, and I think that because of that, he is still a valuable commodity when it comes to a back end of a starting rotation. The only question I would have is I do think that they may have overpaid to bring him back, but I think that it's probably money they felt was well-deserving based on what he gave them last year and how he helped them to get to a World Series.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay with within the battery. The pitching, the battery, what we know as the battery in baseball. Hey, Chris, one of the guys that has impressed me, we talk about baseball, we talk about teams. The St. Louis Cardinals this past year, it's really frustrating. You're going to win 100 games and then go nowhere in the playoffs. Got to be frustrating. But Yadier Molina has been one of those, cornerstones. I mean, the guy, plays his position very well, but he's had a second thumb surgery, and you were talking to me, letting me know that saying it's likely he's going to be out most of spring training. It's a second surgery. My question to you is, as a catcher, taking, because they're a marvel to me. These guys are back there, man, taking fire. I mean, for 9 innings over and over again. How much that wear and tear now will affect Molina, and more importantly, is this something where he's going to be able to recover this season and help be able to be productive like he always is, or it's something that's may linger with him and might cost the Cardinals?
No, I think for Molina, him having the second surgery, I think he'll be healthy. He hope to be ready by opening day, but I do think the Cardinals will actually give him extra time to make sure that thumb is healed. Fully, but they do have a backup. So they did sign Brian Pena to a 2-year deal. So Pena will be the starter to open the season, and then once Molina is healthy, Molina will go back to being a starter, and then Pena will slide into being the Cardinals' backup catcher.
John?
I think that, the other part of this is that Yadier Molina really does act as a second pitching coach for this Cardinal staff. His ability to prepare each of those starters for their game appearances, what he does off the field in terms of scouting reports and all that stuff, I think is a very valuable tool that for the most part goes unnoticed when you start talking about Yadier Molina's contributions to that Cardinal pitching staff. He thinks the game very well, and I think that is something that the Cardinals may miss at the beginning of the year. The good news is that they'll have plenty of time to recoup what Molina brings to the table once he returns. But let's face it, that's now become a very tough division based on some of the moves that have already been made in that division by other teams and moves that still might be made. So how long Molina is out and what kind of a potential hole the Cardinals could find themselves in could be very important.
Yeah, John. I think there's another team in that division that's going to have a lot to say about first place now.
Well, I think there could be 2 teams. I mean, I wouldn't discount the Pirates either.
No, you can't. You can't. Guys, explain something to me. You see it in sports, and here we are in baseball. It's no different. Management goes out, front office goes out, and I don't know. They decide that this season they're going to spend something. They're going to acquire some pieces here. it doesn't work out all the time. It's proven that money's just not going to buy you a championship consistently. It may go ahead and get it for you one year, and like in baseball terms, after the All-Star break, you just might get some pieces that can get you there. But the Cincinnati Reds apparently are in clean house mode, Chris. Please tell me, what the hell's going on in Cincinnati?
Yeah, the Reds, they tried to trade Chapman to the Dodgers early in the offseason, but there was some news that broke out about him having a domestic disturbance, so that trade got nixed. And then the Reds, earlier this week, traded third baseman Todd Frazier to the Chicago White Sox as part of a 3-team deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers. The White Sox sent second baseman Michael Johnson and right-handed pitcher Frankie Montas and outfielder Trace Thompson to the Dodgers. And the Reds received infielders Brandon Dixon and Jose Peraza and outfielder Scott Shugler from Los Angeles.
John, Cincinnati Reds trying to make a statement here. I guess it's going to soon as the rebuilding process begins.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. It began last July when they traded Johnny Cueto to the Kansas City Royals. This is just a continuation of it. And I don't think the Cincinnati Reds are done either. The big name in this trade, obviously, is Todd Frazier going from Cincinnati to the White Sox. It provides the White Sox with another bat that they can put in the middle of that order with Jose Abreu. It also will take care of their corner infield positions now at first and third. The rest of the names that are a part of this deal are all prospects that may down the road turn out to be very good Major League players. But for the moment, Todd Frazier is the name in this deal, and the White Sox have him. It's certainly good news for them, and it certainly also puts a lot of pressure on Robin Ventura because he's now got a team that frankly has got to produce.
Yeah, the Cardinals are definitely... I mean, not the Cardinals. The Cincinnati Reds definitely have decided what... And you're right. I mean, it goes back to the Johnny Cueto deal. I mean, once that started, you figured, you wonder what was behind it. And I don't know, for the Los Angeles Dodgers, guys, how important the piece and how many more pieces missing.
Well, I think for the Dodgers, look, they have been spending a tremendous amount of money since this new ownership group took over that team. I don't necessarily think that all the spending that they have done so far has really paid off the way they had hoped or would have liked. I think this is a case where they need to do some work on that minor league system so that they can find other ways to bring up quality talent to help out that major league roster as opposed to spending the kind of money that they have just been throwing out there since they took over.
Hey, Chris, the Los Angeles Dodgers, they still got work to do, huh?
Yeah, they do. We thought that the Dodgers had signed free agent pitcher Hisashi Iwakuma, but there was a delay in the deal, and then it was revealed later last night that things didn't go well for his physical, so they weren't able to complete that deal. But the Mariners signed him to a one-year deal with vesting options for the next 2 years. So Dodgers are still going to be on the hunt looking for some pitching, and they are talking to the Rays and the Indians starters. For the Rays, they would like to acquire Jake Odorizzi, and then on the Indians, they will try to either acquire Carlos Carrasco or Danny Salazar.
I think those are interesting names to throw out there. I think in Tampa Bay's case with Jake Odorizzi, that could be something that the Dodgers might be able to sink their teeth into. One thing about Tampa Bay, they've got a minor league system that does have a lot of good young pitchers that will eventually find their way to the major league roster at some point down the road. And in Cleveland's case with Salazar, that's still a young pitcher, and Carrasco too. A couple of young guys that still have upside to their careers. I would think that if the Indians are going to part with either one of those guys, it's going to cost.
Yeah, for the Indians, what the Indians want, what I've been hearing is the Indians want them back. Probably someone for the outfield. So Dodgers, they want to get Carrasco. I think Jock Peterson might be involved in that type of deal to get him.
And I would think that might be something the Indians could be interested in, based on the year that Peterson had. And the other part of it for the Indians would be the control that they would have of Peterson for the next few years. That would